Hello everyone, this is Digital Magic from Lone Wolf Productions. Now, I know it's been a while since you last heard from us. You can thank college for that. That's all I've got to say. However, that being said, it is now summer, and I can now start to record some more stuff for you guys. For something that's a bit different, I decided to start out with. We have a mod spotlight. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Minecraft mod spotlights. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, no, not happening. Sorry, can't do it. Doesn't work for me. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you a rough rundown of the mod itself, and then I will be doing a let's play of the mod itself in the pack that I'm using it in. If you guys want to be playing with the pack, I will be giving you the information during the actual Let's Play series. But for now, let's get on with the actual mod itself. So, a long time ago, there was a mod called Traincraft. Now, of those that you that might be aware of said mod, you'd probably be aware also that it is now defunct. It has not been around for a long time. They've been trying to update it. Just ain't been happening. Nothing we can do about that. There's also another mod called Rails of War, which is like Traincraft, only done slightly better. Ignore the phone, sorry about that. However, it's slightly different in the sense that it's full scale, it's German, all that fun stuff. We're playing with neither of those mods, for the reference. The reason why I bring them up is because the mod that I'm going to be showing you is like the love child between those two, and knew exactly what it's doing. This is Immersive Railroading. Immersive Railroading is created almost solely by one person, but who we affectionately refer to as Cam. His username, if I remember correctly, is Cam72. As you can see, I'm kind of in a server, as you can see by the chat. So let me really quickly bring up the Discord so I can double check to make sure I've got that name correct. I don't want to... Cam72 Cam, that's what it was. So I was kind of right. So anyways, the server that I'm currently in would be it is called Redsands Railroad Company. We just know it as Redsands. And the whole pack and server is dedicated to this mod itself. So what exactly is this mod? Because I'm probably going to keep going otherwise in the actual Let's Play. What in the world is this mod? Well, it's a railroading mod. I can't tell you anything other than that. It's hands down a railroading mod. That's what it is. However, it does railroading differently. It does it better than Traincraft, than Rails of War. Dare I say it, it does it better than the Real Trains mod, which I know is going to get a lot of people angry if you're watching this and know that mod. Yes, it does it better than that. I will tell you why. But first, let me introduce to you why exactly you can hear that background audio. So, this is not my station. This is a station that I helped build with somebody by the name of Carter. He is really the person that owns this locomotive, that owns this section of the track. My section of the track is way the hell east of here, yeah. But anyways, this is his area, and it's a lot easier to do the kind of mod spotlight here. So I would like to thank Carter, VJ, for doing that, for letting me kind of work in his area for a little bit. So anyways, let me kind of introduce to you what that sound is. So right beside me, and this is the Little Tiles mod, before you ask. Ooh, special. This right here is the Dorado and Rio Grande Railway. If I remember correctly, I'm probably the person who created this, who I talk with, by the name of Thomas for Peyton, would probably wring my neck if I got that wrong. But it's the C25. He's the one that modeled this locomotive. This is a fully animated railroad locomotive. And it's really impressive, because obviously it's got inventory. You've got water you can put in. It's got a place that you can put in your burnables. It uses the standard, if it works in a furnace, it works here kind of situation. What's nice about this mod, though, is that also the tenders actually hook up. So when the water gets low in the locomotive, it will pull water from the tender if there's a tender connected. Same with any of the burnables. It will not replace a burnable with a different one. It will only refill with the same type of burnable. So in this case, coal blocks. So it'll only refill coal blocks in the firebox. So now that I kind of showed off this, which I once again want to thank Thomas for this. This is an amazing locomotive. Let me kind of explain how the whole system works. So obviously you've got tracks. The tracks are handled really interestingly in this mod. So we've got this little piece of track here. You right click on it or shift right click. It brings up this little GUI. So you can place a blueprint. That's just like a ghost outline of it, which is really helpful if you want to plan out the whole section of track. You've got 5 types, if I remember correctly: straight, crossing, slope, turn, and switch. You can change how long each section is. For the turn and switch, you can do it at 90 degree turn, or like a quarter of a circle turn. You've got 67.5, which is 3/4. You've got half a turn and a quarter of a turn. Now, obviously, this right here is the radius of the circle when it's dealing with a curve, so just keep that in mind. You'll notice something kind of interesting down here that neither of the other 2 or 3 railway mods I mentioned earlier do. You'll see gauge. This is what makes this mod really stand out, in my opinion. Not only do you have standard gauge that the other 2 use, and I think actually Rails of War, it's either Rails of War or Real Trains mod uses Brunel also, which is like, I think it's something like 1.5 times bigger than standard, which is what we find here in the US. But it's also got, so it's got Brunel, standard, narrow, which is what I'm currently kind of showing off here. This is technically 3 blocks wide, but the bounding box is, or the hitbox is only 1 wide. Then you've also got Minecraft scale, which is the same kind of size. Hold up, let me just kind of get it straight away for you guys. It's the standard Minecraft rail cart size, which is kind of nice. You can do some neat stuff with that. If you're into live Steam and that kind of stuff, this is what you would be using for Grande scale, if you know what that is. And then what's also really interesting is you've got model. Now, this is quite literally model track. You can put down model trains and run them like model trains, which I think is really clever for Cam to have done that. Because of the fact that the track determines the locomotive. Now, what that means is that you've got... Let me actually bring up the whole locomotive list. Now, keep in mind that this is not all of the locomotives available in this mod. This is actually more than normally available in the mod, and I'll explain that in a second. For each locomotive, it's got the stats and that kind of stuff, and you'll see down at the bottom gauge, and then it'll list one of the gauges. That does not mean that that is the only gauge that locomotive can run on, which is kind of neat. That is the gauge that the locomotive is modeled for, not what it's meant for, or not. It's not the one that it can be used on. Any and all locomotives can be used on any and all track scales. This is through an API that Cam created called the Track API, if I remember correctly. If Cam watches this, I'm sorry if I butchered that. I thought that that's what it's called. I might be totally wrong about that. Sorry. But it will let any locomotive drive on any of the track types, which means that you can have a Brunel size locomotive. So let me pull out, I don't really want to use that one. Fine. So this is a Brunel locomotive. This means that this is meant for something that's 1.5 times bigger than the standard gauge. And again, I'm not certain that that is the correct percentage. It's just what comes to my mind because it makes you guys probably understand what I'm talking about a lot easier. However, because of that API and the way it works, I can now put this on a narrow gauge. That is not how big that locomotive is supposed to be. That is supposed to be way the hell bigger than that. So, it allows for some really neat stuff, and you can see that I picked up a different version of it that says narrow on the bottom. You'll notice that all the stats are changed as a result, which is really clever, because it means that if you put let's say the big boy, or even the Challenger. I don't think I've got a Challenger in here. But if I put one of those down on narrow gauge, it will not be able to pull the same amount of weight that it normally would be able to. It would pull the weight that it would if it was actually shrunk down to that scale, which is really clever. And I think Cam really wanted to make sure that things were balanced in that regard, and I think that it's a fantastic way of doing it. So now that I've talked enough, let me actually kind of show you around the locomotive. This is the C25 Constellation. This was modeled by Thomas Payton again. And you'll notice down at the bottom left, I've got this little GUI HUD that comes up. On the far left, you've got water. The top number is the current. And the bottom is the max. So this locomotive can hold 11 buckets worth of water. Now keep in mind that changes with the scale. If I remember correctly, I might be completely and totally wrong, but if I remember correctly, that changes with scale. Heat does not. It maxes out at 150 for every single gauge, and that's just a general safety kind of setup that you've got. You see, I've got a little brake slider and a throttle slider. Now I have these mapped to my keypad. Whoa, Jesus! That's what I get for not setting that up correctly. My bad. Weird. Okay, well, that might be a bit of a problem. I think that's the only one that I really mapped to it. Oh, okay. That's going to be really painful. Okay, let me kind of cut away for a second and see if I can fix that. That's not the one I want. Neither is that. Here we go. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Was not expecting that to still be active. That was from a while ago when I was live streaming Discord Discord. I'm sorry, Dishonored 2. I was trying to do some stuff with that. Anyways, back to the mod. So we've got a steam locomotive here. You see a little steam effect coming off. That only occurs when you're at full PSI, like it would on a real steam locomotive, which I think was really well done. You're just gonna hear me rave about this mod. This is an amazing mod. If you like railroading in Minecraft or just railroading in general, I would highly recommend checking this out. I will put down a link to the Discord for this mod. There's an entire Discord just devoted to this mod. You can come and check it out. So let me just kind of ease the throttle up, and you can see that again the entire thing is animated. And what I found out through Thomas is that he animated exactly 0 of this. Cam made it so that when you're modeling a locomotive, if you name things correctly, the code will animate it for you. Again, I don't know how the hell he did that. He did it. I'm gonna go with that, but that's impressive to me, especially since I've coded in the past. So, and you'll notice that as I kind of increase the throttle, there will be more smoke coming up the smokestack. So you've got the cylinder cocks, which is what that steam shooting out to the side is. Those are automated. They will open as soon as you start putting steam through the cylinders, and will close as soon as it gets to a certain speed, if I remember correctly, or a certain throttle amount. Yeah, it's a certain speed. Uh, now, that with every single locomotive has its own whistle or horn on it. That specific one is apparently, according to Thomas, the actual, or at least very close to this actual locomotive in real life. Now, here's the kind of funky thing about this mod that makes... If you don't understand Java, this won't make any sense to you. If you understand Java, you'll start freaking the fuck out when I tell you this. So, this locomotive and a couple of the cars that you see in the background, especially the caboose and the tanks, or the tanker cars, those are resource packs. I can even pull up the resource packs, and you will see this is how the trains are dealt with. Most of the locomotives that are on the server are via a resource pack, which means that anybody can model a locomotive and can instantly put it into the game. I don't know how he did this. Apparently, according to Cam, he did a stream a while ago. According to him, the way it works is that each locomotive is dealt with like a single entity, and it's just a base entity that acts as like a class file. And these resource packs add on additional variable types, or not variable types, but additional variable values. But it's just a base object file is how it deals with it. And again, if you don't understand Java, don't worry. I should be careful saying that. If you don't understand object-oriented, because that's really an object-oriented kind of deal. If you don't understand object-oriented, don't worry. I know that made no sense. Just believe that it works. For those of you that understand object-oriented, you'll understand what I'm talking about, hopefully. So, that's how that works. So, every single object that you see here, about half of them are from resource packs. Specifically, again, this locomotive, a lot of the ones down at the bottom are, I think it's actually these specifically, are the ones that are resource packs. And you've got like little stock stuff, and you have cars also. And again, some of these are resource pack stuff. Now, this is something that I don't understand how he did. And this harkens back to the Rails of War mod. Is that you can get into a car and you can walk around just like you can in Rails of War. That's not the thing that confuses me. This is. I literally just walked between cars. Which means that as a train is moving, you can actively walk from one end of the train to the other without getting off. Which is really beneficial if you're doing, like, say, a passenger service and you want to act as, like, the conductor. That's really cool and all. But I still don't understand how he did it. I understand that, they have to be coupled together, but I don't know how exactly the bounding box works that it can register that. Makes no sense to me. And the bounding box in itself also is kind of confusing because you can climb up any of the objects that you see here. Like, I just climbed up this caboose. Don't know how that works. Confuses the ever-loving life out of me. But that works somehow. I don't know how, but it works. So, this mod kind of harkens back to a small bit with the Rails of War mod, in that you've got, like, a coupling hook that you can use to uncouple the cars. But something that it kind of does differently is that you've got these little things called augments, which means that you can put these things down on the track and you can interact with the locomotives just through the track. This is how you can load up water via a water tower on the side of the track. You can just put a fluid loader down on the track and just pump water into that augment, and there you go. You've got water flowing into the tender. it works. I don't know how, but it works. Um, and you've got a couple of other things. Now, the cool thing is this one right here. Cam made it so that this can directly interact with the Open Computers mod. So any person that knows Open Computers, put this down, and you can completely and totally control every single aspect of the locomotive from a computer. That includes getting the ID number of them, getting the name of the locomotive, getting the speed, getting the brake level, getting, if it's a property, you can get it through this locomotive control, which is really impressive. There's also one other kind of thing here, which is the conductor's whistle. I'm not going to be showing you in the this in the Let's Play, but if you have a locomotive near a village with passenger cars and you blow the whistle, villagers will come and get onto the train and will ride it to wherever. I think you have to blow the whistle another time at the stop. And based on the distance and some variable, I don't remember what the name of the variable is, but based on that distance that you traveled, now that is from point A to point B, not via distance of the track. It's distance from point A to point B. The villagers will pay you that journey. And you can change what they pay you with. I think the default's emeralds, and it's according to that number of, I think it's meters traveled acts as like a multiplier, I think is how it works. I don't have access to those numbers on the server, but it's there. If you want to go and figure out how exactly that all works, look up Cam 72 Cam up on YouTube. He's got a bunch of videos kind of explaining how exactly that all works and how to finick around with a lot of the settings. But anyways, here's where things get kind of wonky. And as you can tell, they're based on some of this stuff, you have to construct the locomotives. This is all of that nonsense right here. So you have to physically construct every single aspect of these cars, and you do it through, I don't know, I can use this. I don't know what I think the blocks are just immersive engineering blocks. He's planning on trying to get it away from immersive engineering, but for the moment, the multi-blocks that come with this mod use the immersive engineering mod. So if you want to be playing with this mod, make sure you've got immersive engineering, or make sure that the pack you're using has immersive engineering, or else you're kind of screwed. Not much you can do about that. So this is, I believe this is a plate machine. So you've got, again, you can use these to kind of create the objects. And I'm just going to go through them. Casting machine, boiler machine, steam hammer, rail machine, plate machine. And it just cycles back through. And this just acts as like a little ghost guide to help you make it. All of these run off of the immersive engineering energy. Again, he's trying to get away from that. And I'm not going to go through each of these and kind of explain the GUI, because you'll, again, be seeing that in the Let's Play. And nobody really wants to deal with that, in my opinion, without, like, seeing kind of entertainment of it. But anyways, so that being said, this is the Immersive Railroading mod. I will be starting up a Let's Play of it on this server itself. This is the same server that Chog Che plays on. You can find his YouTube channel just by looking up Chog Che or Immersive Railroading. He also plays on the server. He's actually, I'm allied with him. They do teams. So, and you can see you've got Chog Che, Thomas Verpaten. As I scroll through this, you might see some familiar names if you look up this mod otherwhere, and I need to remember to do that. You might see some familiar names from elsewhere on YouTube that also do this mod. So there's one that I remember seeing very distinctly that I was surprised that I was on here. I don't remember where he is anymore, but Oh, ZL also is up on YouTube, but a lot of people that do YouTubing of this mod you can find on this server. And I'm sure that I'm gonna double check to make sure that it's okay that I post the information to get to this server up on the YouTube channel. So if you want to, you can join me, actually. One of the few Let's Plays that you'll ever be able to... You'll see that's modded that the person actually can play next to you while he's recording. Crazy, right? So anyways, we've got some lovely things here. We've got a creative and survival server. I will be doing survival, obviously. But as you can see, we've got quite the creative server already happening. It's quite extensive. I've been kind of exploring it for a while. It's very extensive what people have done already. And it's just going to go crazier from here. So if you want to join in this madness, I will be doing a Let's Play of it. I will be doing all kinds of fun things. So, for now, immersive engineering. Or, not immersive engineering, I'm sorry. Immersive railroading. I'm so used to saying immersive engineering, because that's really what I knew before this mod. So, there you go. You've got immersive railroading. It's a fantastic mod. I highly, highly, highly encourage you to check it out, because it's a pretty awesome mod. It does some really neat things. So, there you go. This is Digital Magic, or DJ Zelix, signing off, and I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed this video. If you did, think about possibly pressing that subscribe button, that like button, that bell button, all that normal stuff you hear from other YouTubers. I don't like repeating it, but people want me to anyways, so if you enjoy it, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, whatever the hell you want to do. I personally don't care what specifically you do, just if you don't like the video, please comment on why. I don't like it when people say, oh, this video's terrible. Well, okay. That doesn't help me change anything. So, anyways, hopefully you liked it. Check out the mod below. I'm going to be putting a link to the description, and also, if I think about it, the MC forums page of this mod. It's pretty extensive. It's pretty awesome. I highly encourage you to go check it out. And again, this has been Digital Magic, or DJ Zelix, signing off, and I hope you have a lovely summer.